Hey everybody, this is Wall Dog. Um, feeling better. Um, also, I just checked my channel or whatever, and the videos are like out of order for some reason. There's like I checked it, and there's like one video. Wait, hold on. I'm kind of dumb right now, but just get, just get my other. They're like in order. No, they're totally out of order. Uh, but it's like showing it like really noticeably out of order on my. And why am I recording on this phone? Okay, clearly there's a lot going on with me right now. Um, Judging from my dumbness. Um, why is my it says freaking that my internet? I don't know. None of this makes sense. But anyways, um, I am feeling a bit better. Clearly, I'm in a daze of some sort, and but it's okay because I'd rather feel a daze than you know, not feeling good about just life in general. I'm kind of. I was talking about last night, but I'm kind of over it. You know, I just want to relax. Part of me wants to work on my music. To be honest with you, uh, but I want to work on my computer because it's so-called superhero stuff. Anyways, I got plenty of time. I'm excited. Look at my freaking hair. I want to say one thing real quick. My hair when I was a boy, um, I had like my hair was always like always had like hair up like this or whatever. So like the fact that my hair does that naturally, and I'm not like you know, I find that kind of funny. Reminds me of that. What was I saying? Yeah, computer stuff. I got plenty of time to do everything I want to do today, and I've got this check for my bankruptcy. So what I'm about to say, the way I'm gonna say it, and the reason why I'm saying it is because it's funny to me. Yeah. Uh, it's like a $8,000 check or whatever. I'm gonna care. I'm gonna be wearing. I'm gonna have it with me in my possession as I'm on my scooter. And it's gonna be fun because I want to be like one of my missions today is to make it to the make it to the bank because I tried cashing it, not cashing. God, man, I tried to use the mobile app, but the mobile app complained. It was like, "Hey, what are you doing? You can't do that. This is over the amount that you could um, deposit over the phone." So I'm like, "Well, ain't that a thing?" And I was like, "Well, I guess I'm gotta find a day that I have time to get to the flippin' bank." And there's this one lady at the bank. I really like her. She's really really nice. She's funny. Uh, she's a mom. She's a mom, and she's told me several times about her daughter and stuff like that. Which you know how you can be told about something, but like you don't really like look into it, but you just like you remember. Anyways, every time I go to the bank, not every time clearly, but like we like talking to each other, right? So like we're, but I'm usually in a bad mood, and like last time I spoke to her, I was in a bad mood, and I was all like serious. I was like serious, but I could read the situation, and so I was like, I don't want this right now. I just want to, like, this is business, but and like I'm not talking bad about her, clearly, but she's a human being, and I'm a human being, and I'm like, anyways, so like thinking about going to the bank with this $8,000 check in my backpack on my scooter. What I really care about, what I'm really worried about, is talking to this lady. That's where my brain goes, because I'm like, because here's the thing, not talking anything bad about her, not talking anything bad about the situation. None of that bothers me. Here's what specifically bothers me. Like, I don't like getting embarrassed. And let me just say this real quick. I don't have a mother, right? Like, I don't have one. Uh, I lost her when I was around 20 something years old. Um, and by lost, I meant I, she didn't die, but she went away, and I stopped talking to her. So here's this thing that's about me, um, I'm gonna go ahead and admit. Uh, I am pretty shy at times. Rarely, but there are certain situations involving mothers that make me feel embarrassed and shy. And I'm aware that this mother in particular has that ability, and perhaps that it gives those warning flags to my brain. So I'm like, look, I'm here on business, but also I like talking to you. You're a funny person, and I'm a funny person, but I don't want to be embarrassed right now. And like, clearly this is all, it's funny, right? Like, I'm just a normal guy. Like, she's seen. Here's what makes it more funny, because I forget. I just remembered something. Like, there's one time I was at the bank, and I don't remember what the heck happened. But, oh, I remember now. Okay, hold on. So I open up my phone app. Okay, imagine this. You're looking at there's a long line of people, and you're like, heck no, I'm not gonna stand in that. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna sit down. I'm tired. I don't have time to play these games waiting in lines, right? So I'm looking at my phone app. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, you know how you expect to see your money? Well, I had no money, and I looked down at my phone app, and I'm like, let's look how my money's doing. And I'm like, I got no money. Where's all my money? And here's what happened. Here's my damn bankruptcy, and I'm going to go ahead and say this is my damn lawyer, who I like and who knows me, and we have a funny relationship, and he knows me. Like, even if he was to hear me or see me say that, he would probably laugh and be like, fucking Wally. Anyways, it was my damn lawyer in my damn bankruptcy, and I wasn't told that my money was gonna be gone. just like that. Like on like I didn't know. Like I expected, like a letter or like information saying, "Hey, we're gonna," from someone, you're like, "Hey, your money, it's going through this process, and like half of it's gonna be, moved around or whatever. There's gonna be like a arbitration process, blah 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 blah." But no, I'm sitting there, and I have a little freak out, right? And I was tired, and all this at the same time, and the lady's there, the mom's there, um, and she sees me, and you know I'm not perfect, and I'm a vampire, and I'm a very, I don't know, like clearly I don't know any other vampires, or even if I did, I probably wouldn't say it for anonymity's sake. But anyways, I turned into a very well. Here's what I wanted to say first. I don't know any other vampires. I was gonna say I'm a very strong, powerful vampire, and but like clearly, like how can I say that not knowing, having a comparison? But anyways, here I am, suddenly looking down at I got no money, and I turn into just a full fledged everybody and anybody with anybody like I want to say that anybody could see, like like any person could sense, see, detect that I was a full-fledged vampire that was powered up. And I didn't mean to. Like I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting there, right? But my body transformed, and I felt bad. Like clearly, I was in a kind of a panic state, and it was the first time ever. Well, not the first time, but one of the. It was a moment, a learning experience, because I realized, like, hey, no, that's not good. Don't do that. Like, but I didn't realize at the time that that my body was gonna transform like that. Clearly, I'm not perfect, and it's a learning process, and I realize that like, hey, this is there's a time and place for things, right? And even though I'm not, quote unquote, I've heard this before, and I don't like saying it. It hurts me to say it. I'm not supposed, like I'm not supposed to exist. I've heard people say that before, and I don't like that. But even though I'm not supposed to exist in that sense, the vampire sense, I know there's responsibility and consideration towards there's all of that, and I do take that seriously. But there I was. Here's this mom. Here's me. I don't want to get too. I don't want to get too much in the situation, right? But I forget shit like this. Um, so last time I saw her and she was talking to me, and I'm like, oh man, why is she talking to me? She wants to talk about her daughter again, and like completely ignorant of the fact that that situation happened. You know, a few months earlier, and clearly she remembers. um, but anyways, why am I talking about this? Why do I have apprehension about? I don't know. I've never seen her daughter. That's not the thing. I think she's a nice lady. I'm not like I'm not doing that whole you know. But the thing is that when I interact with her, there is that the last. Okay, here's what I want to complain about. I think this is why I'm part of why I want to talk about this. I, there are times and place, like when like business and like and like a person's being flirtatious with you, and you're like, why, you know? But then, as I just said, she saw me go into like a superhero type vampire mode, and clearly, if it's pretty darn impressive and leaves an impression, right? But I'm like, man, I just want to do my. I want to be a regular person right now and get this shit taken care of because this is an errand for me. I don't feel like, you know. Anyways. So, yeah, I got back to, no, don't, no, hold on. Alright, hopefully that didn't just fuck up the video. I'm gonna have to check that. Uh, Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get some coffee. I'm gonna go to the library, go to the gym. Um, I'm gonna try not to. I've got a lot of time actually, too much time, and I'm trying not to show up. There's a party tonight. I'm not gonna show up too early. I try not to, because I don't want to. Uh, and it's one thing I wish there was more of. I wish there was more like public places. One of the things, the problems with it being winter time yeah, it's December, is that you don't want to be outside. Whereas normally I'd just be cool with like sitting outside somewhere, you know. So, but, and like everybody's super nice. Most people are super nice, and I'm famous, and I'm pretty good, pretty good dude. But my it's not that I don't think that people want. Some of those people are like, screw this guy. It's more like I've seen these people so many times that this may sound really bad, but it's like I'm running out of excuses. I've completely ran out of complete excuses to not be friends with them. It's like you ever talk to someone and they're like, "Hey, I like you, and I know you think I'm funny. I know you like me, and I could totally see us being friendly and stuff like that." And but you're like, "Yeah." Uh, and like I want to say this begrudgingly. I'm gonna say this begrudgingly, saying that my I just want to say like I'm just too cool to hang out with you. But the reality is this is that I am too cool to hang out with some of these people. Just don't want to. You know, it's like why? So that you can annoy me? You gonna be sexual with me? Like how terrible is like I say that. Let me take a step back and say this. Just with that example I gave earlier about wanting to do, uh, I let me sidestep and backstep. And a side note, I'm not. It annoys me when a person who's friendly talking stuff and they become sexual. It annoys me. Uh, I am not a sexual person. I can be, but I'm not. If that makes sense. And I enjoy talking to people who are funny. I enjoy, clearly, and it's not because I'm too cool, um, you know, uh, but as far as my responsibility as a so-called, um, I want to say so-called superhero, but I also want to say a so-called spokesman for vampires and stuff like that. I'll take a relationship to a certain extent, but when people try to, they're like, how can I take this relationship with this guy further? Like, I mean, this guy, like, he clearly does not go past a certain point, and it's like, it's just that's just the thing, and I don't know. Like, part of me feels bad because, like I said, with it being winter time and me seeing more people, you know, being indoors and like, what can I say? It's just like, hey, good to see you. I can tell that we're both afraid to talk to each other because I don't want to have a certain kind of conversation with you, and you don't want to have any other conversation except the kind of conversation that would make me feel um, annoyed. You know, like, well, this is great. I'm just gonna show up, and you're gonna have that weird look on your face, and I'm just gonna be, I know that I'm uncomfortable, and we're just gonna do this every time we see each other now because we can't do anything else. Like, we're it's like it's like you want me to go in a certain direction, but I refuse to go in a certain direction, and if I don't go in a certain direction, you're not going to talk to me. Is that where we're at right now? And the reality is like, yeah, that's exactly where we're at right now. And it's that way with like so many people. And like the thing is, it's not because I'm so cool. It's because I know myself, and I know there's a lot of things about me that um, personal stuff and personal preferences and personal, a bunch of personal stuff, and that other people are not. They don't know, and I realize that. So they're like, "Why is he doing that? Why won't he do that?" And I'm like, "Well, it's personal." And they're like, "I don't care if it's personal, man. Whatever it is, it's okay for you to tell me." And I'm like, "Well, it's personal." But should I say it's complicated? When I say that, it's complicated, and you wouldn't understand because you are not uh, me. Yeah. But anyways, so I'm gonna go. That's what I'm doing, and I don't want to be. I could avoid all of that and just stay home, but uh, just staying home kind of sucks. Uh, I'm the kind of animal that likes to be outside. Um, yeah. And like I texted my another thing is I texted my grandfather this morning, and I was like, "Hey, almost got beat up last night. I want to try to fix my bike." And like I feel kind of bad, but like I know my grandfather, and like the way that I phrased it wasn't that. But I was like, you know, I know that it's good for me to that what I texted my grandfather was correct in my in my belief, in my opinion, in my instincts, and but yeah, uh, I can kind of tell, or I got the feeling that, you know, my grandfather, you know, is kind of thinking about me, cares about me, you know, and I'm thinking about that as well. So, and I really don't want to talk anymore. You know how guys get sometimes, and not just guys, you know, there's women too, but or just people, you know, I can think of several examples, but when just a person doesn't feel like talking, you know, that's how I feel. I'm just like, man, no more words. I'm no more words, only action. No more words. But you know, I'm just grumpy. Uh, See, this is how I get when I get embarrassed or when I get like thinking about stuff and like I'll talk about a situation that happened and I realize that like I'm the one who's like in the wrong and like the only reason why I'm embarrassed or like feeling the way I feel is it's my fault. I get like this. I'm like, anyways, appreciate y'all for watching. Let me talk, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.